Now, Dr. Alexander Ellert from Google Germany is talking about advertising in the intelligent area, and I'm happy to have you here. And it's your stage, your 12 minutes.
Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to stay here, and I work at Google for 7 years now. And when I started there, we had the claim that we are a mobile-first company. Our CEO Sundar changed this a couple of years ago to the claim that we are an AI-first company, and this has a huge impact on all of the products that we develop. And when you think of the Google Assistant, you already heard this in the first talk, that this is massively built on AI, and when it has a conversation, this only works in the US right now, it adds the and the so you really can see that it tries to mimic the human behavior. And whenever we build a new product, we try to integrate it in everything. Sometimes it's rather a basic AI that works there, and sometimes it's really the deep learning that tries to really own the product. And when you look at the photos, you can just type in the name of your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your dog, and it will automatically find all the photos that are associated to this. So you don't have to tag it anymore. And when you look at this picture, it looks very simple to see all the dogs that you have in your photos. But when you look at this kind of pictures, it gets tricky very quickly. So, for instance, this is a dog, but this isn't, and this is a cat, but this is ice cream. This is a dog, and this is a bagel. So you see that it sometimes gets very tricky, and when you look at people, they age over time. So the algorithm tries to identify which person is the person when it's a couple of years older. It works very good, but when you have some kind of a delay that you haven't taken a photo of a couple of days, then this won't work. So as you can see, this is all a process that tries to evolve over time. And what we are trying to do at Google is to build it in every product that we have, but to also explain what machine learning is and what machine learning isn't. And what we do at Google is that we change at our Google.de site the doodle that we have, which you see here. And there it was the birthday of Bach, and we created the first machine learning doodle. And I have a short video that will explain how it works. So maybe we can try to play the video.
This doodle is very much tech-driven. Bach's music has all the rules of how to write good harmony baked in, so it's like a really good resource for machine learning to learn music.
Für das Bach-Doodle haben wir ein Machine Learning-Modell entwickelt, was mit über 300 Kompositionen von Bach trainiert wurde. Und so kann jede Melodie, die der Nutzer eingibt, im Stile von Bach harmonisiert werden. Googles Mission ist es, die Informationen dieser Welt zu organisieren, sie allgemein verfügbar und nutzbar zu machen. Und das gilt natürlich auch für Machine Learning. Und das Bach-Doodle ist ein sehr spielerischer Umgang mit Machine Learning.
The thing that AI can really do for us that I think a lot of people are missing is it's going to amplify what we can already do.
I hope people play it and maybe feel like they could dream a little more when they think about what they could do in the future.
And what we also do is that we try to build a framework that everyone can use machine learning. And here's a funny example from, or not a funny, but a very impressive example from a cucumber company. So this is a young man who was studying engineering, and his parents were farmers for cucumbers. And they spend like 50% of their time by sorting out the cucumbers, because a large straight cucumber gives a double or third of the price of a screwed cucumber. So he used the photo AI in order to automate this in an automated way. And this kind of example is an example that we use in advertising as well, and you will see this soon. But when it comes to AI and advertising, people most likely think of performance advertising, because when we think of AI in advertising, this is not the newest one. At Google, when it comes to optimizing your campaign, it uses machine learning since a couple of years, but it has huge improvements. And I would like to show you what kind of improvements these are. For instance, when you try to get a good return on investment of your campaign, you need to try to get as much data in as possible. And this means that you can include your own data, like the CRM data that you already have from your customer, but also your ads data, like for instance, from a video, how was the viewability, how was the average time duration. So you have a huge list of data points. And this is impossible to do this manually, because when I think when I say huge data, there are millions of data points, and you only have a millisecond to understand which is the optimal price that you bid. And what we do is that we use AI in order to optimize in real time and use machine learning to get the best out of your campaign. And we have many campaigns that had used this custom algorithm, and we see huge improvement compared to manual bids. But when we have a meta-analysis, we also see that around 70 to 80% of the success of a campaign depends on the creative. But when it comes to AI and creative, it seems like this is a clash, because the creative part is like the big idea, the good, funny, creative that you have, and the machine learning is like the machine that really does the stuff. And what I would like to show is how can this work in the branding sector as well. And using data in the branding sector isn't that new at all. And this is an example from what Google did with in the UK with The Guardian. So they have lots of recipes that they provide. And we wanted to show an ad that isn't annoying to the users, but rather funny, helpful, or like something like this. When you have a look at the recipe for black pudding, we said, how about vanilla ice cream with that? And when you look at the website, there are like thousands of different recipes. And doing like a contextual ad that really fits, you also need to have thousands of different ads, and you need to put it manually into the system. So it gets really cumbersome to do all this. So what we tried is similar to the cucumber example, that we used all the images that are in there and took the machine and give the machine time to learn how this works with all the images. And then the output was very simple. So it's just another ingredient that we don't have it hard-coded. It's rather the machine that it learns on previous example. And there are not only examples in the pure ad business, but also, for instance, in the call center business or in the email business, when you get lots of emails and you need to decide which has a high priority, which has a lower priority. And the language processing is also very good there with machine learning. So you can pre-prioritize and see which one you need to answer first and which one can also wait for another day. And when it comes to creative, you always need to get there are thousands of creatives that you see every day, so it's hard to stay out of the thousands of creatives. And what we try to do here is like be a little bit funny with machine learning. And funny and machine learning sounds like very far away. But what we did here is that we have the Mexican pork recipe, and the cooking time was 3 hours. So we used the creative and said, do you rather want to order a pizza or really want to do this for 3 hours? And this is just a tiny example that you can train the machine, and the machine will come up with funny ways. And what are the key takeaways of those very short presentation now? And I think the first one is that when you think of machine learning, there are like endless of examples. So the cucumber example is like from a very basic technology that they had in the in the area where he lived. And for him, it was a massive success because it speeded up the process a lot. And when it comes to advertising, AI is not only there for the performance world, but also for the branding world. The second situation, or the second point I want you to take with, is that AI doesn't have to be a clash with creatives. It can be a very good combination of both. So you just need to rethink the creative and have creative agencies together with the machine learning expert to create really the most out of it and get the most out of the data. The third point is very crucial, and that means that you need to be very responsible with all the stuff that you can do, because there's so much data on it, and sometimes it feels a little bit creepy that machines know so much. And due to the fact that machine learning is in every mouth and in every thought, there are some guidelines, and Google has published guidelines as well, how to act with machine learning. And the last one is that machine learning isn't only there for the large companies, but there are so many packages that you can download, like use TensorFlow, or TensorFlow is like a interface where you can use different kind of packages for machine learning, and you can play around with it. That doesn't mean that it's simple. I don't want to oversimplify it, but it doesn't mean that you have to be the hardcore engineer to use the first place with machine learning. And if you want to play with machine learning, this is a very funny site. It's called AutoDraw, and I really encourage you to do this. You can draw whatever you like, and the machine will try to figure out what you meant. And at the beginning, it doesn't work that good, but when it understands your behavior of how you draw, it will figure out what you mean very quickly. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Alexander. And now it's your time. Now we have 6 minutes and it's ability to ask questions. Who has a question, or who wants to be the first? It's allowed. You can ask. So.
As a matter of fact, I didn't understand the example with the recipes very well. Maybe you can explain it again. Like, what happened?
So those websites traditionally earn their money with ads, right? And those ads can be very disturbing or annoying. For instance, if you look for recipes, you can find a recipe for getting the new insurance contract. And this isn't something that you expect or want to have, so you just ignore the ad. And what we did is to find a very contextual targeting, where you say, wow, I really might use the vanilla ice cream to the cake. So I put it into my shopping list as well. But doing this is very manually. You have like an Excel sheet that has thousands of lines, and this takes so much time and has a lot of room for errors. So we use the machine in order to do this in an automatic way by characterizing all those different images.
More questions? Do you have a question? No. Okay. Here, sorry.
Hey, do you have any examples of German businesses already using AI in ads very well? Like, do you have something in mind, some businesses in mind that already use it in a clever way?
For performance, many.
Okay.
So the what I have here, this one, the custom algorithm, that is a tool that is heavily used. And I would say over 50% of large clients use it. Or this is just my gut feeling, maybe it's 30%, but it's a significant number. For branding, not that many. That's why I have a UK example, not a German example.
Other questions? No? You are here around, or going back to the office?
Both. So
Both.
I will be here around, but then have to go back to the office.
So you can grab a coffee together and ask him on a 3 or 4 eyes. And if there are not more questions, I'd like to thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And we have a little present.
Oh.
It's good for a start in the weekend. Enjoy your weekend with your friends and family. And now we have a short break. I will hand over to my beautiful colleague Jeanette. She will moderate the next hour. And we will start at 11:18 with Dr. Alexander Elgemal with Digital Health 2030, Implications of Current Trends for the Future of Medicine. So see you in a few minutes. I think that's around 12 minutes time to grab a coffee and a beer or water. And thanks for having you here.